Hey guys, Amanda here. I just wanted to say that I'm doing a bit better. I'm still having, struggles like we all have. And I am now on the waiting list to do the year-long DBT treatment. And you go twice a week, once to group, once with an individual therapist, and they're all certified DBT therapists. So they have all that training for dealing with borderline personality disorder or any personality disorder, really. It's just a disordered way of thinking, really. So if it helps to change that. But this is more intense than like when I went to partial. Partial was the step that you went before you got hospitalized. So if you didn't make it through partial, then you went to the hospital. This is different. This is, they're not going to put you in the hospital unless you're seriously needing it. But it's not like that. I haven't been there yet. But I do know it's an intensive form of it. And I am scared because it forces you to look at yourself instead of saying, well, because that person did that, I did this. And what it does is it takes the other person out. So you're saying, okay, what did I do in this situation? What is my role in this? And could I have done it differently? Is there something, like you own it for yourself? Yes, I did this. Yes, this happened. Yes, I acted this way. Yes, whatever. And that scares me because I do have a hard time talking about myself, because whenever my therapist has tried to get me to talk about me, it's very hard. Oh, come here a second. Bend down. Okay. This is my mom, and I was just saying that the DBT treatment is very intensive, and she took one years and years and years ago. She's old fossil over here.
Years ago. It was 20 years ago.
Come here. Wait. I'm not finished. She's an old fossil, this one. Anyway, I just wanted...
I'm a little bit anxious. Oh, cut my down there, sonny.
Yeah, she missed her calling as an actress.
You're not my son, you're my daughter.
I hope I'm a girl, because I have fun bags like a girl.
I didn't have a son, I had a daughter. I did.
I should have been a boy. Anyway, she did DBT, and I'm talking about all this stuff you did years and years ago. You said you had, Anyway, I just want you to tell them that it is hard work, but is it worth going? Does it help, because you've been through it. Well, tell them.
Oh, because it helps you.
Look at me. Look at them.
Because it helps you look. I told you, I'm old and decrepit here. Okay.
Yeah,
no, it just helps you look at things at a different way instead of looking at it the normal way. It just takes you outside the box and helps you look at things differently and how to put yourself in a position where instead of it overwhelming you, what you could do to minimize the anxiety so that you don't feel that way once you get there, so you're not already anxious when you get there. So
regulation, emotions.
Well, and it's kind of like
emotion regulation. Sorry,
it's like prepping yourself that you're going to be late for an appointment. There's really nothing you can do about it. But if you choose to get anxious about it, then your blood pressure is going to go up. You might get hot and sweaty.
So you're having these thoughts going, oh my God, I'm late. The boss is going to do that, blah, 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 blah. And all that goes through your head. So instead, you put yourself in the moment and go, okay, I'm late. Nothing I can do about it. The worst that my boss can do is fire me. That kind of stuff.
And as many times as I was late to work, my fine bosses are pretty forgiving as long as you're a pretty good employee. So I can't bend down like that anymore, folks.
That's okay. She's old and decrepit, and that came out of her mouth. She's really not. She's only 51. She just turned 51 in December, so she's not really that old. But Anyway, so I'll be doing DBT, and that was a generalization, but yeah, it basically takes you out of everything, puts you front and center, like I'm talking right now, but it's not about everybody else. It's about me, you, like the individual person, and because when you go to therapy, you're not supposed to talk about everyone else. You're not in therapy for someone else. You're in therapy for yourself. So that's the part that is hard for me, because like I said, talking about myself, like putting myself in the spotlight, I'm really not like, hey, look at me, pay attention to me. Ooh. I'm not really like that. So when it comes to, excuse me, being in the spotlight, so to speak, there's a lot of pressure that I put on myself, and I feel uncomfortable sometimes, but that uncomfortableness, everyone feels uncomfortable, but it can help you to recognize your patterns, recognize all these things that we probably don't even realize that we do, that lead to having dysregulation, poor communication, not being able to work through whatever issue is going on. I mean, obviously I don't know how they work it where they are, but just by reading stuff and other, what other people have done, some people have benefited from it. Not everyone, because sometimes, because how it works is, if you don't think you have a problem, therapy in any form is not going to help you or that person. They have to come to the realization themselves that, hey, maybe my behavior is causing people to not want to be near me or whatever. But some people, because they take, like all mental health disorders, it's on a spectrum. So you have BPD on the lowest end, which is you have like traits, and like on this part of it, there's more room for people to therapists to help you become more aware of what's going on. Whereas you get towards the middle and over, you have people who are way on this side of the spectrum, that are people who probably won't ever admit they have a problem. They'll do all this stuff, they'll say all this stuff, but it's always you. It's never them, ever. They never do anything wrong at all. They could rob a store and put in jail for 6 years and get out and be like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. Like that, that person probably will never ever get help, most likely. But if you recognize that maybe things aren't going well, if you start to question, well, what am I? Like, why is this? Why do I not have this? It's good to look at yourself. And again, hard to do. I have a hard time with it. It scares me, but I at least want to try. I want to see if I can do this, I don't know how far I'll get. You have to make the commitment for a year, and I'm hoping that I can do it. I really am. I can't have things forced on me if I'm not ready. I'm willing to try, but I don't want to overwhelm myself. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work for everybody. It's not a guarantee at all, but it doesn't mean that it isn't something to try. Okay, so that wasn't even the reason why I was making this video. I really want to talk about crisis. And I'm talking about this because where I live, Henry, enough. Enough. Go lay down. Leave the kitty alone. Come on, Henry, go. Out. Go. Shoot. Sit. Stay. Oh, crisis. Where I live, crisis, in my opinion, is a waste of the taxpayers' money. And here's why. The word crisis, when somebody says someone's in crisis, that means that right now they need help now. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, now. And and it doesn't make sense because where I live, and I found this out because, my son has been in crises before, and this is how it works here. If your child or somebody is having a immediate crisis, they encourage you to call them so they can come out and help you diffuse the crisis. That's their theory. The practice that they do, however, is if the person is in crisis, they will tell you, we can't come out because your child or your spouse or whoever it is in crisis, and you need to call the police and get an ambulance to have that person transferred for a psychological evaluation. So we have a crisis unit that doesn't come out if somebody's having a crisis, and all they're going to do is assess you and decide, do you need to go to the psychiatric hospital or are you going to go home? And that's usually done where I live in the ER. So when you finally meet with them, and my experience, sometimes it takes a lot longer than other times. One time I had to wait with my son for over 24 hours. I want to say it was like it was closer to 2 days, really. It was like a day and a half or so before the crisis worker came in to evaluate him. You're supposed to evaluate somebody right then and there in a crisis. No. And this was the longest time it took, was over 24 hours. I'm not sure exactly, but I had to spend the night there with him because apparently the workers were, I don't know, busy or whatever. And by the time when I talk to them, it doesn't make any sense because where I live, I know most of the navigation with services. I've been doing it for 10 years. I don't know everything. There's things that I learn as I go, but I know for a fact where I live, having a crisis worker, an agency that deals with crises, is a waste of time and money. Because if the person has 24 plus hours before the worker comes, they're not going to see them in a crisis. The crisis is going to be gone, and it's a waste of time. You're wasting time in the hospital. You're wasting time hiring people who the only job that they do is go, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened. Okay, he can go. Or she has to go to the hospital or whatever. In my opinion, it's just a waste of time. It would be nice if when your child was in an immediate crisis that they could have a worker or two come out and help you defuse it. If not, then call the cops. But they don't do that. They say call them in a crisis, they won't come. What are people supposed to do with that? So I'm telling you guys this because I encourage you in any of the 50 states that find out if you have a crisis unit in your state or in your area. Find out how they work. Because it's good to know beforehand so you don't waste your time. Because you might as well just drive your kids to the hospital yourselves, the psychiatric hospital. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money where I am. So please find out in your area what it is like so you know the next time what steps you need to take. Okay, that's what I originally wanted to talk about. So clapping of hands to my mom, the old decrepit person, and my son. Come here. Your photo. Come here. I'll turn it on you. Oh, shh.
Oh, come on, I gotta get in it.
Oh, there is Casey. He's got the Marilyn Monroe eyes. Well, not now. Ready?
Good mine.
No, look. Go like this. Look up and look at your eyes. See them? See how you put your head down? You
No.
look up. I look at you.
Watch my eyes. What? I know, hold on.
Okay, say bye. Wait, you gotta hit it. Bye.
Oh, Mommy. Goodbye, Bobby. Goodbye, Amanda's.